Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the 12 Days of Canva, day 2. And today we're going to talk about fonts. And not only are we going to show you how to create fonts and use them effectively in Canva, but we're also going to talk a little bit about the design element of fonts to make sure that you are matching and pairing your fonts well. So if you are joining me, please say hello in the chat. Happy Wednesday and good to see you. We are going to start with just looking over some of the basic elements of why fonts are important. So I have it all mapped out today. And I know that we had talked a little bit about doing organization today, but the last time I was planning on going like 10, 15 minutes, I went 37. And so I'm like, I think I needed to stick with one topic a day. So we're going to do fonts today. So when you think of fonts, typically we look at different branding for different products. So I want you to think through what are some products that you know that have a very specific brand and a very specific font. And if we look at my little display here, I pulled up a bunch. And so when you see these brands, it automatically, when you see these fonts, it automatically tells you what brand you are looking at. It's something that is very aesthetic. It is something that pulls your eye, draws you in. And we know when we see the golden arches, we are passing a McDonald's. It is a very specific way that people use font elements in order to create something that is engaging and that is memorable. And so today, as we learn a little bit about how to use fonts in Canva and some of the tips and tools that I'll have for you, we also recognize that as we create brands, whether it is for us as an author, for a business, for a nonprofit, whatever it is you are trying to engage your audience in, you want it to be something that is appealing to look at, and that when they see it, it is going to be recognizable. So there are two parts of today's teaching. All right, so let's start with the basic fonts in Canva. So I'm going to show you a little bit of how to navigate the Canva font library, what kinds of categories there are in fonts, and then free versus premium. So when you want to add a font to your canvas in Canva, you simply come over to this text box and you click on the text box, and there you will have a purple box that says add text box. Super easy. And so you can add that, and you will see there is a text box now that I can actually start typing in and create my content that I would like my graphic to have, or my document, or my presentation. When you click on your font and you have a font box, there are several different ways that you can navigate what kind of font you're going to use. So here we go at the very top. So this toolbar is really going to help us with any kind of element or font that we add to Canva. But when you click on your text box, it's going to have the elements that are for fonts specifically. So the first box is your font styles and all the different fonts they have. Canva has thousands of fonts. And so let me explain how this font box actually works. So here we have the font box, and this is you can scroll forever and you won't ever run out of fonts. I don't think I've ever got to the end of this font box. There's a few things that you need to recognize. If you are, when you set up your Canva account, it should set up in the language of your computer. But let's say you are writing a graphic, and you're creating a graphic and you want to use Spanish as your main language. You can actually go into the language tool and you can type in the language that you want, and you can click it, and it's going to make sure that all of the fonts have the proper accent signs or the proper symbols that you need if you're using a font that is not just the regular 20, how many letters is that? 26 letters? 26 letter alphabet. So that is how you can get different font packages basically, so that you can make sure that you're having the proper accents and things like that. Then down at the bottom, you can also sort, and you can do it with English language as well. But if you only have a free account, it might be beneficial for you to go ahead and sort to free, so that you don't have to have all the other pro account fonts in your stream. Or of course you can click pro and it'll show only the pro accounts, or just leave it and it will show everything. And so that is where you would then click apply all, and you'd be able to then have the proper text that will fit what you are creating. So here we go with our text. Now, when you look over here at all of the different text styles, there's a few things that I have learned that really help me navigate how I use text. Because oftentimes when we are creating, we want to use different styles within a text, and we don't want to have to continue to change the different text select the different text. So we are going to look here, and at the top you will see that there are the document fonts. So these are the fonts that I have used in this document. This is a great place to then make sure that everything you do is cohesive. You don't want to have a bunch of different fonts, and we'll talk through how many fonts are a good number of fonts for your designs or for your documents. And so in this one, we have 4 different fonts. Now, when I click on this one, it is Glacial Indifferent. And when I see Glacial Indifferent, so I know it's mine because the one I checked, because it has a check mark by it. It has this little arrow. When I click on the arrow, that's going to show me what other styles are in this specific font in Canva. And some of them have only 1 or 2, like regular and bold. Some of them, if I scroll down far enough, let's see. Some of them, if I click on it, you're going to see it has thin, it has extra light, it has regular, it has medium. And a lot of those you have to go into the actual font like I just did. You can't navigate all of those styles from the font bar at the top, the toolbar. But you can, if you go into this specific font, even though it has a lot of different fonts, you can gauge what style you want by using the font style bar up here. The other thing that you'll want to know is, again, just like in the elements, when there is a crown by the font, it means that that font is only available for a pro Canva user. So you can't use that font unless you pay to use Canva. So you have here, let's talk about the different categories they have. The document fonts, so that's all the fonts that you are currently using in the entire document. So not just on that one page, but throughout all of the pages. So it's easy access to keep your fonts consistent. Then you have recommended fonts, and those are fonts that you've perhaps used often, fonts that they're recommending maybe a new font, and a new font will show up there. So you can go ahead and you can rate them, you can find more fonts, and you can hide their font recommendations if you don't like the fonts that they have chosen for you. Typically, if you see this little star, it's telling you that it is something that like the Canva AI has really picked for you because they're fonts that you've used before, or similar to ones you've used. Then you have the recently used. So this goes throughout all of your Canva documents, and it will place the top 5 or 7 or whatever it is there for you, so that if you found a font that you used earlier in another canvas, you can pull it into this one easily. And then you have your kits. And so this is where you make your brand kit. And if I'm using my Redemption Press brand kit, I can go in and find the fonts that I have chosen for that. And then finally, there's the uploaded fonts. So this is the area where if I have a specific font that I want to use, let's say I'm creating a book cover and I purchase a font and I want to add it into Canva so that I can make sure I can use it on other graphics for that author, I can just go in. And then I go to, click over here one more time, sorry. I go to blah, 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 dun, dun, dun. There we go. I go to the bottom and I say upload a font, and then you just follow the directions and you can upload fonts that you can't find in Canva. Now, I wanted to show you when I type, let's say I have this right here. It was showing me down below. I type on glacial indifference, and it didn't do it. Well, if it pops up again, I'll talk about it. There is a place at the bottom where if you change a font, it'll say, do you want to change all the fonts to that? So like if I come up here, I think it'll do it. So this font here, if I change it to Poppins, you'll see, do you want to change all of glacial indifference to Poppins in your entire document? And then you just click change all. And then every single time that glacial indifference was on your one of your designs, it'll change it to the new font. So it makes it really quick for you to do that. All right. Now we have, go back again to this one. Okay. So you have your recommended font, recently used, your kit brand kit, your uploaded fonts. And then if you keep scrolling down, you're going to have popular fonts. These are ones that are trending. Anytime you see this little arrow, it means that it's something that's trending on Canva that a lot of people are using. And then this is a little bit longer. And then you have finally, this is where the language will change. You have your English fonts. So these are all the fonts that have the English vernacular, all the different symbols that you would need. So if you were to go to Spanish, you would have the Spanish fonts there. And then those different accents and symbols would be available to you. Okay, now let's go up to the top toolbar and talk through, or maybe we'll do that later. Let's see, navigating. Let's go to the next one, see what we have for us to do. Okay, font pairing essentials. When we are pairing fonts, there are some basic rules that you should follow. And one of the things you can do is Canva gives you some pairing options. So when you click on the text box, you will see some pairing options that you can use. I personally, if I go in to get some pairing options, if I'm making something really quick and I don't have time to go through and look for some fonts, I really like the ones that are just plain black and white, so black text. And so you can just simply click on it. And now you have two fonts that actually go together and you can use them very quickly and change them and change colors and sizes. You can also look down at their fonts that have the effects, which we'll talk about in just a minute. And so you can click on those. And again, you can use them. You can change out the colors. You can even change out the fonts for that matter, but and change out the styles so that you can create your own font, but it's giving you some good pairings. So here are some basic rules with pairings. You want to pair fonts with contrasting styles to create visual interest. For example, you may want to use like a serif font with a sans serif font. So for example, let's go ahead and go back to this page here. So I may want to use a serif font here. So I would type in, and I could actually, so a serif font would be, Playfair is a serif font. I just know that. So Playfair, there we go, Playfair display. And so I can click on that and that will change out my first one, my first font here. And then I can go down here and I'm going to type in Monterrast. Whoops. Sorry, wrong place. T-S-E-R-R-A-T. And then I can type that in. And then this one has all different kinds of, medium, semi-bold, black, all the things. So I'm going to go ahead and use a thin one because I'm going to have this top one, Playfair, be my bold font. So up here, we can see, so if I go back and I'm clicked on Playfair, you can see that Playfair has this little arrow by it. So that means I'm going to have all of these different options to choose from. Now, when I click in the upper in the toolbar, it will just change it to a basic bold, and that's okay. So I'm going to use a basic bold for that. What these items up in the toolbar do is obviously some of the basic things that you would have in any Word document program. So you have your bold, you have italics, so you can make that italics, underline, strike through, and then this one is capital, uppercase. You can take it out and then it will create your lowercase. Sometimes that's where people get really confused because their font is all in uppercase and they cannot figure out how to get a lowercase letter, and it's because that box is checked. So you can pull this, and now we're changing the size. So you can pull the size of your font by simply pulling the corner, or you can do it manually through your font box. And then it gives you up to font 144, but you can also just type in your number and hit enter, and then you'll have the font at the size you want. Your second font that I chose, so this was the secondary font. Let's say I don't want this to be all caps, so I will take the caps off. I will take out the first I will take out the first capital letter, and then I can make this a little bit bigger. And now I have two fonts that go well together, and I will show you how to position them. So let's say I have this one, it's over here, and I want to make it center. There's two ways to center your fonts. You can simply drag it until you see that little dotted line in the middle, and that's telling me that my fonts are centered. Or you can go over to position, and you can simply say center, and it will center the two fonts for you. So you have to make sure, though, that they are selected. Sorry about that. So those are two ways to align your fonts. You can align them to the left. You can align it to the top. So see how they'll both go there. And then I'm going to align it to the center because that's where I want it to stay. So those are the basic idea of these particular items in the toolbar. Now let's say I want to spread this bottom text out. I want it to be the length of the top line. I would go here to spacing, and then you're going to do letter spacing. And here is where you can pull the text apart. And now you have a text box with the letters spread out so that they are equal size. And oftentimes that's a really good, just a great way to make your graphic look a little more unique than just having everything the same exact space. All right, let's go back to this page and talk a little bit more about pairing. So we talked about contrasting, but we also need to establish some kind of hierarchy. So you want to have a font that is more bold or a nice print font, and then a secondary font that kind of just brings some visual interest to your particular design. When you do this, you want to stick to two, no more than three fonts. So many fonts will confuse your reader and your eye won't know where to actually land. So using two fonts is a great way to do a basic graphic look. You want to ensure cohesion, making sure that you are picking fonts that complement one another instead of fight against it. So you don't want to use two script fonts. You don't even want to use two bold fonts. You want to make sure that there's enough contrast so that they do not fight with each other. All right. Let's go to, I'll do a little bit of playing on this. So when you pick a font from this text box here, so when you pick one of these, or you just scroll down and you'll see some other ones. Like I said, I really like using just the black and white ones and not all the color, but sometimes I pick a color one. You go in here and you could say ungroup, because as you see, when I look at this, I can pull it and make it bigger if I want to, but if I want to do something a little bit different, I like the two fonts, but I want to have my own design, I can go up and I can say ungroup, and now I can treat each text box differently. So I'm going to take this text box and I'm going to play around with it a little bit. So I'm going to take Merry Christmas and I will make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to make it bold, and I'm going to make it all capital letters. Then I'm going to take out the and sign for a Happy New Year, and I'm going to make all of the, oops, I don't want that to be bold. I'm going to make all the letters lowercase, and I think that I would like this to be a little bit closer to my Merry Christmas. So I'm going to select it all. And then I'm going to go in and say line spacing, and I'm going to shift the line spacing so the Merry Christmas is kind of sitting right on top of Happy New Year. I took out the and, so I'm going to actually create my own element. So I'm going to add an ampersand. So I'll go in here and look for an ampersand that I like, and I'll just kind of scroll. This one's kind of fun. I will take this ampersand, put it over here, change it to perhaps green, maybe give it a little turn. So this little thing will turn my graphic and have it sit just perfectly. Now, because I use this ampersand, I may want to bring it down just so it's not overlapping. Take my graphic and put back in some space between it so that I can kind of have it a little more spaced. So it's not touching. There we go. And perhaps having that little hook kind of come over and be part of the happy and A. And then I can take my From the Johnsons and I can either center it. So I can do that, or I can maybe put it off to the side and have that be my new graphic for Christmas. So that's how you can manipulate it to take something that was very basic, as we saw in the text box. So something that was just very plain, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the Johnsons, and change it out to be what I would like, to match kind of more my style. So that's how you do that. All right, let's go to customizing fonts. Now this we kind of talked about already, but if we add a text box here, adjusting font size, again, that's up here, or you can just drag and drop. Again, making sure that your font has that little arrow by it so that you can use the font bar, and there are different ways to style it. We talked about alignment, and there is also the alignment that is, if I pull this out a little bit, this little button here will make my text box bigger. So if I do this, all of my text is now centered. And if I come up here, I can have my text be left justified, justified, or right justified. And you can do it typically by line as well, but you have to go in and actually click in the line that you want it to be, that you want to change, and change it that way. All right, I think I talked about all of this. Okay, and then we have our colors. So you can change one line at a time by going into this little A right here that has the color box under it, and you can change it to the color that you would like, or you can click the box without going into the text box, click the color, and then it will change all of the fonts into the same color. So that's how you get different fonts in the same text box, either all the same color or different colors. And your color palette, we'll talk about this a little later, but basically the ones on the top are the colors that are currently being used in your document. And then you also have your brand colors that you can choose from. And there's lots of fun things to do with the colors. We'll just do that later. All right, exploring font effects and advanced tools. Oh, this is super fun. Okay, so we're going to add our text box. There's our text that we have. There are several different ways that you can add fun effects to your text box. And you simply just go to this box right here that says effects. And the box that you're going to want to know most is this top one right here that says none. Because when you play around with it and then you decide, I don't really like any of it, I want to go back to where I started, you can click none and it'll go right back to the beginning. So if you get stuck in the middle of it, go back to none. There is shadow. And so the shadow will add, you can kind of see, let me make this bigger so you can see really well if you're watching on a smaller screen. All right, so you can see the shadow behind it. You can do a lot of different techniques with your shadow. You can pick the offsetness of it, so how far away it is from your document. You can see it moving. You can do the direction. So if you want it facing the opposite direction, you can just kind of pull it up, pull it over, wherever you want to have it. And then blur, what it's going to do is take the shadow and it's going to actually blur it behind so it's not quite so distinct. And then transparency is where obviously it's going to make it, well, it was transparent and now it's getting untransparent. And then this here is going to change your color. So you can change your color of your shadow and then you can try the tools and see how they are working for you. So that is shadow. Then you have lift. Lift is basically just almost like I would say kind of like a glow behind it. And again, the intensity is what you're looking at. So you can go really dark or you could go really, take it completely out. So that is what lift does. Then you have hollow. Hollow basically makes it like a shadow. And again, the thing that you can change there is the size of the line, the outlines. You can make it really, really thin. You can make it really thick. This is a great tool to use, and if you are creating a coloring book, because you can take that text, make it hollow, and they can color it in. This is one of my favorites. It's called Splice. And what Splice does is it takes your main color of your font. So here's where we started. And let's say my font color, let's go ahead and do green. Back to my effects. If I do splice, splice is going to pull the dark green out and put a lighter green behind it. I just used this for a graphic yesterday. I really like this one. And again, you can change the thickness of your line. You can change the offset of your back font, and you can also change the direction. So you can make it move around, move over, however you want it to look. And then again, you can change the color of the actual inset. So if the front color, the outline will be changed up here, but the back color can be changed by clicking on this little dot here. So what it's changing is the color in behind. Then let's go back to none so you can see it going from scratch. You have outline. Outline's pretty basic. It's going to outline your font for you. You can pick the color that you want and then also the thickness. Lots of fun. You have echo. Echo is going to make the font have different layers. So as you can see, I'll do it with a different color so you can see it really well. You can see the different layers behind it, and each layer gets a little bit more transparent. Again, you have your offset button you can change, and then again, the direction. Then you have glitch, and glitch is adding some additional colors to it. So you can go in and click the color button. And for some reason, it's not letting me. Oh, I guess you can choose one or the other. So this has the pink and this one has the red. And then you can make it go off more, or you can change the direction. So very fun. Okay, then we have neon. And neon, again, I like this one, but it also has the same tones, colors that you're using, and you can simply make it more intense and take away the actual color of the font, or you can blur it up and have the color of the font even darker. And then finally, background. I actually like the background font. I use this a lot when I do reels because whatever background I'm using, it makes it stand out so that the words are seen. And then again, you can choose the color that you want your background to be. And you can choose the roundness of the actual image behind it. You can make it square. You can spread out so you have a wider margin. And then again, transparency if you'd like it, the image behind it. So if I were to put an image in here, let's just say a checkered background. I put that in my background, and now you can see it through that when you have the transparent background. But the beauty of the background using this filter versus using it in like the shape is that the transparency only changes the background. It doesn't change the actual font. The font stays dark. So that's how that works. Okay, so those are all of the different elements that you can use. I'm going to go back to the elements or the effects and show you. Let's go to none. The shape. So in the shape, you can have no shape, or here is where you make your font round. And you click on this, and then there is a curvature button down here that you can figure out how much of a curve you want. And then you can also go the opposite way. What I love about this the way that Canva has set this up is it's really easy to pair with a round element. So if I come in here and I say circle, and I want to pair my font with this circle here, I can simply, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I can simply go up to my top of my circle and then click on effects, click down here, and I'm going to pull my circle, and you can match the circle because it's showing you basically the shape of the circle as you do that. Sorry, there's a lot of buttons you have to push. And so you can pull it out and make it so that it fits exactly. You can kind of center it exactly in the circle. And then your text is the proper size for the circle. So that's a great way to add curved text. You can even do it above. So if I were to do it above, I would want the circle to be bigger, obviously. And so you can pull it out. And there you go. So you just kind of match it up with the current circle that you have. So that's super fun, right? Okay. And then we can also do text that moves. And so that's where this is if you wanted to create a movie or you're doing a reel and you save your document as an MP4. So it actually has some movement to it. And so you can, let's actually get rid of the shape. I can simply go to animate, and I can just hover over any of the different animations, and it will automatically show me what that is. And when I click on it, it's going to save that. And then when I save it as a MP4, I'm able to then just play it because it'll be a movie. And then you can say, I want it to be animate on both going in and out. I just want it to do the enter. So it's going to enter into your image and then it's not going to move. Or I want it on enter and exit. So I just want it on the exit. So it'll be there when you click on this particular image or see this particular image, and then it will exit out. And you can even change the direction. You can make it go up and down. You can even change on this one specifically. It doesn't have it for all of them, but you can change the color of the actual swipe. And then there's tons of animations. There's animations you can do in between slides. We'll talk about that when we put a presentation together. And then you can say, obviously, remove animation, and then the animation is gone and you can continue working. All right. Are you learning anything? I hope so. Um, then the next thing that we're going to look at quickly, let's see, I think I am down here. So I want you to think through as you are pulling fonts into your own graphics about the fonts that really represent who you are and what you are creating. So you can have maybe the fonts that are part of your book cover, the fonts that are on your website, the fonts that represent your ministry, the fonts that represent something about you. Maybe you use the same exact font for every social media post. And as you know, when you see specific fonts, like when you see Disney, that font is very specific. And even if another word is written but with those with that font, you know it's a Disney font. And so when you create a brand, it will really identify who you are and how your audience is perceiving you, and they will recognize it. And for those of you who are not part of Redemption Press University, there is actually a course in RPU that is all about branding. And the unique thing about Redemption Press University and the courses that we do is it's not just a course that was done years ago and we're uploading it. These are things that are current. So they're using current ways of using Canva, current ways of using other programs that we have, social media, email marketing, all the things that we have to do. And they're also in bite size. So we don't just like give you a 3-hour video and expect you to learn it all. The branding one specifically, the videos are anywhere from like 5 to 15 minutes long. And they go in and they say, stop here and do it. And it shows you step by step how to create your brand and how to create your mission and how to create your purpose statement and all the things that you need to have a proper brand. And it will use Canva, and it's going to show you how to create an email signature, because everyone needs an email signature. And that's one of the things that course will do for you. So if you're interested in being part of RPU, let me know and we will have you join us. And a few things that you want to remember when you are creating your fonts. So these are just kind of the basic finalities of creating your fonts and learning a little bit about how to put them together is avoiding, as we talked about earlier, using too many effects and too many font styles. Really, you want 3 basic texts, 3 basic font styles for your graphic or for your branding or whatever it is you're doing. So if you go to text, if you look here, you're going to see there is a heading. So that is a heading for, it actually isn't the correct heading because I just changed it. The heading for Redemption Press University. And let's say that actually isn't, because it really isn't our heading. In fact, our heading is, let me get the name of it and I'll show you how to change that up. It is this right here. I think, sorry, I think it's this one, Gil Sans Bold Extra. So if I go up to my brand and I say edit, I can go into my brand and I'm going to edit my, sorry, it's scrolling forever. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. Just depends. Sometimes when I'm going through StreamYard, it is really challenging to the bandwidth sometimes is horrible. Okay, so my title, I'm actually going to use, or no, I think it's the heading. The heading, I'm going to change it to, what did I say it was? Crap. Hold on. I forgot. You guys help me remember, okay? Gil, that's what I need. Okay, so let's go back. Edit. Hopefully it'll work this time. And you can go ahead and set up all of these for your brand if you'd like. We only used 3 at the moment. All right, so we go to heading. We go to the button, and we go to, oh my goodness, what was it? Do you guys remember? It was crap. Okay, I will go down. It should be there for me. Okay, there it is. We're going to do this. And then I simply click. Oh, thank you, Shelly. Goodness gracious. Where's save? Maybe I don't have to click save. And then I click it here. And now it should be there. Let's see if it did it. Oh, it didn't. I don't know. Anyways, it should have worked. I think I have to press save somewhere. I didn't see it on there. So there is my first font, my second font. Oh, because I changed the wrong one. My second font would be, go to here, go to here. The pressure, you guys. Okay. My second font is this one. That should go together. That would look better if it was the actual correct font, which I'm just going to change it so you can see. And I'll make it bold. And then I have this one is my second font. So Redemption Press branding is kind of plain. And then we have my body font. So the body font is something that should be very simple to read. It's going to be what the majority of your text is. And that one will be here. Right there. Actually, I think that one is the body font. They have it all messed up. Anyways, you know what I mean. You can put them in there. So you would have your basic bold font, your script font, or your decorative font for the secondary. And then you would have your body font that all of your basic text is in. So just make sure that you don't overuse too many script fonts together, too many bold fonts together, that you have a good variety and they all feed into each other. Again, Canva has a great place for you to find fonts that go together. So play with them, find a few, make sure that you are just finding something that matches your personality and have fun doing it. So that is our lesson on fonts. I hope you learned something today with them, and we are going to hop on again tomorrow. And I'm not exactly sure the direction I'm going, but I'm sure it will be something informative. So thanks for joining me. Good to see you all. Good to see you, Casey and Shelly and Ann. Thanks for commenting so I don't feel so alone here in StreamYard world. And I would love to see what you create. So create something and post it in RPU in our Facebook group and show me what you're doing. And if you have any questions, you could always put them there. We are going to have a bonus Zoom for those of you in RPU that will come in, and we'll try and answer more Canva questions once this whole training is over. And maybe we'll create some things together, and I'll probably ask Sarah to come in because she also has a lot of Canva knowledge and probably can teach us even more. So thanks for being with me. We will all see you tomorrow. Bye for now.